Well, welcome my bow fishing brethren. Few nice things going on this bow fishing video here. Shot this on May 6th, 2020 in Saginaw Bay. A couple of the lights that we're going to be running tonight is 400 watt HPS Digital Ballast Systems. They're set at 100% and they meter at 438 watts each. The fixtures themselves are from Swag, custom housing, and I forget the light bulbs that I'm using. Same camera specs as before. Just a little reminder, this camera itself is mounted on an 8-foot pole that is a 1-inch square tube. I'm using an external battery supply, which is just basically a hand warmer, which acts as a USB backup for the camera. You can see right there in a little glimpse of it is there's my Yamaha 2400 inverter generator, which I use to power the two HPS lights. The rest of the lights underneath the deck are powered by the onboard battery system. You know, I built a little temporary box, like birdhouse, I guess you could say, for these ballast. I didn't want them just out in the open, and I want to protect them from getting hit by the fish and whatever debris. So in this picture here, what you see are all the deck lights, the under deck lights on, and the two high pressure sodiums on. And again, those high pressure sodiums pull 438 watts each. The lights underneath the deck are 9 Viugreum 50 watt lights and 4 Arrow LEDs in 100 watt. You know, this evening I'm starting out shooting the Muzzy LV-X bow. In 2019, I received a little over half a dozen of these bows. I tested one and also did a YouTube review of it. Now this is the 2020 re-release of that bow. It still has several issues with it that probably need to be addressed to really get the full possibilities from this bow. It's pretty much the foregone conclusion at this point. The consensus is that the strings and cables are not the proper length and also need to be longer on this particular bow. You know, another thing with the bow is obvious right out of the gate too is that the limb bolts do not have enough lube to them, if any. The limb bolt receiver doesn't have any lube in it, and it just peels the metal right out. Just very disappointing. Very, very simple fixes that could be addressed, and it's nonetheless, it is what it is. And you'll see another report coming up specifically addressing those issues. Okay, enough of that. And now on to my beloved G-Rex. And I'm shooting this bow at 30 pounds with a 27-inch draw. Typically I'm about a 30-inch draw in hunting, but I only shoot a 27-inch draw in bow fishing. You do not need a huge amount of kinetic energy to shoot fish, much less with a bow that's built like the G-Rex. The energy generated is really impressive. So you're throwing a heavy arrow with a great deal of kinetic energy. You know, in a few seconds, you're going to see a change in the lighting. And basically what right now you see is the two top 400 watt HPS lights. And in a minute, they're going to be switching over to the Viugreums right there. You notice the Viugreums are actually warmer because I'm shooting, or I have a warm white flood light that I'm also shooting an amber film on. The Kelvin is actually lower than the Kelvin rating or measurements of the HPS system. The lights on top of the boat here are only 250 watts each, which meter at 265 watts each when compared to the 438 watt HPS light. You know, it's probably been about 5-6 years or so, maybe even a little bit more than that. Time flies. But I had some custom bows built from PSE just for my sporting goods store, and they were custom colored bows. And my son is shooting one of them right now. And I also converted some of those to a let-off bow. So instead of this having a bow that felt more like a recurve with no let-off, I actually put a module system in it, and it worked out really well. He's also shooting the Muzzy Reel with the Impale Archery REVO seat. Nice thing about my son, and I'm very proud of him, he's literally a rocket scientist. Seriously. He really worked his butt off and ended up getting a degree at the University of Michigan in aerospace engineering. You know, it's times like that again, moments like that really are even more than the sport. You know, when you spend time with people that you care for, you know, those are the moments in which that I believe that I find the most fulfilling, being out doing something at night like this. You know, we actually don't get a whole lot of time to spend together. I work a lot, and he works a lot, and he works in different parts of the country, so it isn't as if that we don't get much time to see each other. We try to talk occasionally on the phone, but again, there's only so many seconds in the minute, and it's one of those things that you got to work hard. Yeah, another thing I like to mention is that often you'll see that I get these fish off the arrow pretty darn quick, and it's the AMS Anchor Quick Churn model. Now, AMS does make another tip called the AMS Anchor, which is the fixed point. I don't like that one personally. If you're shooting a very large fish, a large game animal thing, yeah, maybe the fixed are the way to go. But the quick turns are nice for getting your fish off the tip quickly, and or when you're stuck in the bottom, can turn the arrow shaft. Great way to dislodge your tip from all of the snags from the bottom of the lake or body of water that you're in. I would really like to shoot a state record fish one day, and I think the thing I have probably the best chance at is shooting a state record gizzard shad. I shoot a couple places where I get some big ones, and sometimes over 3.5 pounds. This particular night I shot a 2.8 pounder. I think the state record's just over 4. Maybe one of these days. Wait and see. Okay, what you see right here is the under deck lights on and the two 250 watt Viugreum floodlights on. And the two lights on the top do have the amber film on them. The decks underneath the boat, or the lights underneath the boat, some do, some don't. Right now, the two floodlights are off, and now only the under the deck lighting is on, which again is 9 Viugreum 50 watts and 4 Arrow 100 watt LEDs. I have a 10 watt deck light that comes off of the bow rack. This is a great light to see what you're doing and taking off fish, tying knots, playing around with your bow. When you're really thicking bugs, it is not a fun light to have on. Quite honestly, I do not turn it on when we're thicking to the bugs. It's just way too much. Right now, what you're looking at is just the Viugreum, the two Viugreum 250 watt lights. Again, they meter at 265 watts each. None of the lights underneath the boat are on. It's just the two lights on top. You know, in this shot, we're back to the two 250 watt lights and all the lights underneath the deck. You know, much later in the evening, I noticed that the camera had stopped recording, and so I went back and I changed out the SD card and ended up pointing the camera down a little bit more. And you'll see that in this shot coming up. Also, this is where I do a barrel exchange. You'll see that the barrel in the front there is about 3/4 full, and when they're completely full, it's about 350 pounds, sometimes a sliver more, but usually if you get them that close up to the top, they start flopping out. So to keep them safely in there, it's about 350 pounds. It's a 44-gallon brute trash can, and I'm using a carpet vinyl runner. Basically, it's a vinyl runner that goes on top of shag carpet. This makes it much easier to slide the barrels along because I have that rubber mats on the flooring of the boat. Much more comfortable to stand on and work on. The vinyl runner makes it a lot easier to slide the barrel. So in this shot coming up right here, what you're going to see is the arrow LEDs on with the two Viugreums on the top. The arrows do not have the amber film on them. They have a slight gold film on them, which seems to cut down on just some glare. Doesn't give you a whole lot more penetration since it's already supposed to be the halo color. That right there is just the 4 100-watt arrow LEDs DC halo color. Always looking to make improvements to my boat. If you have some kind of neat idea that you came up with, please let me know. I'd like to see if it's a good fit for me. Anyways, I hope 2020 is your best year so far and you had a damn good day, or at least try like hell next time you're out on the water. Stay safe. See you next time.